morning, Britain, a soft-boiled egg. Piers is on the range, shooting pains down my left leg. Holly and Phil can pay her energy bills. Dead wasp on the windowsill. The last drops of Blossom Hill. Hailstones on the bus up to Little. The booze aisle is dark and wide. A cork upon its ceaseless tide. Let the darkness roll inside. And I went to work for Dad in the jewelry shop. I wish I had gone on to higher education, but Tom was always the clever one. Cash in the attic, a place in the sun. A very long overdue phone call from my son. William, deal or no deal, or no deal, or no deal, or no deal. Box number 17 is open to reveal a wound that's never healed. TV drifting out of sight. A cup filled to the brim of night. Let the darkness roll inside. I don't want any more regrets. My dreams died like dolphins in a net. I never got to go to Venice. And how many summers have I left? I still can't believe I'm a grandma. Jen just passed her driving test. I'm gonna put a couple of £1,000 towards a car and take her on holiday. Make memories before it's all too late. There we are beneath the Rialto Bridge, huddled in a gondola. uncles in a room watching Neighbours. Dad's in the bath whistling. Mom's on the sofa reading yesterday's papers. When suddenly the house is lit to every corner by a stupendous burst of all-seeing light. The boat left its cloud, scribbled miles down, an empty page of heaven landed on our roof, leapt from room to room, and vanished with a deafening boom. Diminished chord of panic screams, a smell in the air like chlorine, cacophony of barking dog and burglar alarm, a scorch mark in the centre of my trembling palm. I stare bewildered at the telephone hanging from the wall, now a flower of charred and twisted beige. It was only a wrong number. I just hung up the call that was so close. You were so close. I almost recognized the voice. And here is a song about a ghostly railway man. Elsie's little friends don't come anymore, with their little knuckles rapping at the door. Sorry girl, she can't come out to play. Elle's not feeling very well today. Our neighbour found her walking in her sleep, through their onion patch on bruised and bloody feet, singing an unrecognisable melody upon a voice not her own. She saw him again, the apparition in the hall, a heavy-set man in old-fashioned railway uniform, carrying under one arm his blinking sash, lips opening and closing, and the question they were posing is, where are you going? Where are you going? We would later discover the previous owner of this house was the former station master. Was closed after the war, according to the Knocker-Upper. He was only a relatively young man and a brand new father when he took his final step in front of a train with a squeal of brakes abruptly departed, body from brain. Elsie was the first girl on the estate to pass between the hallowed Royal Grammar Gates and on to Cambridge University, who paid a generous annual bursary. Now she's an associate research analyst, 2 years at the London School of Economics, trying with a wayward husband to keep a happy home and bring up her boy. She saw him again, the apparition in the hall, a heavy-set man in old-fashioned railway uniform, carrying under one arm his blinking severed head, the grey lips opening and closing, and the question they were posing is, where are you going? 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 Excuse me. The sound of a middle-aged man getting his breath back is probably not what people really need on their radio.
They used to be on this program, mate, don't worry.
All right. Out the gate and up the lane, the allotment is calling again. I'm there nearly every day. It's my happy place. And when I'm on my hands and knees, ears filled with crow's beak and buzzing bumblebees, the nasturtium sway and worry slips away. Pulling up the turnips, thinning down the carrots and leeks, tying on the sweet peas, pruning back the branches of the pear tree, mucking out the chickens, repairing a puncture in the Polytunnel. It's Karen who was always the green-fingered one. I don't really know what I am doing. Would you like another cuppa? Could you manage a slice of toast or a little bit of soup, my flower? Out the gate and up the lane, the allotment is calling again. Pottering in the shed, building a new raised bed for spuds, sowing beets and broad beans, waging war on nettles and bindweed, taking in the sunset, repairing a puncture in the Polytunnel. In the Polytunnel. In the Polytunnel.
Work that guitar. Richard Dawson live in session with Bolt. So welcome back to the programme, mate.
Hey, how you doing?
We're all right, aren't we, Gid?
Oh, yeah. Good to have you here.
Absolutely. And so, forgive me, Gid, so I'm going to start this conversation with Richard with something that you can't really relate to apart from what I've told you.
I'm used to that, Mark. That's fine.
That's okay, good. So before we get on to the album, I just want to briefly discuss the show that you did, that I saw with Mitski.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, I was sat with Gillian and several other people at the Apollo in Manchester, which holds, in the seated capacity, around about 2,300, something like that. Yeah. Which is so great to see on the big stage, just you right in the middle with the spotlight. But for those who don't know anything of Mitski's oeuvre, she did the Artist in Residence programme, which followed Gid and I at one point, and she was playing television and magazine. It was great. Richard Dawson. She was brilliant, wasn't it, Gid?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about her, so I did a bit of research, YouTube sensation, all that kind of stuff. And as going to the gig from the pub, naturally, I just saw lots of women wearing cowboy hats, pink cowboy hats, and having different things to wave in the air. And I thought, I'm slightly worried for where this is going to go for Richard, because it seemed like the complete opposite of the audience that you might normally expect. So explain exactly what happened on the night, because I was bamboozled by it, but it was amazing.
Hey, I appreciate your concern. I was bamboozled the first couple of nights, and I'd brought a little prejudice to it, thinking, I'm going to be playing to thousands of mainly teenage girls and their parents, and I was expecting to get basically booed off or something like that. But actually, the first night I came out and I said, well, hello, bit of a funny start to the set. It's actually a song about a mom in 15th century Hexham, and they all went, "Way!" Okay, what's going on? And cheering guitar licks and stuff like that. It was really amazing. And what I hadn't banked on was that for a lot of the people in the audience, it was their first gig. There's a lot of 14, 15, 16-year-olds,
right.
And they had a different kind of gig etiquette that they were bringing, and it was so cool. It was a completely amazing experience.
I thought somebody had slipped something in my drink, because it was just one of the most bizarre but brilliant nights of my life, I tell you. But it was really strange as well, because at one point in time, they do say never underestimate your audience. It's a case of never underestimating somebody else's audience, which is particularly difficult. But you did a little jig at one point during a shanty, and they went bonkers.
Yeah, well, that's... Hey, it was really good. I mean, I loved it. It was very surreal for me, but also, in the end, it kind of made sense. And Mitski asked us to do it because she liked my music, and it was like, oh, yeah, it's that simple. It's like if, and then I started to see how the sort of similarities and listened more closely to her work, and realised, oh my God, she's a fantastic songwriter. And actually, the gig I did in Dublin with her was 8,000 people, which is the most I've ever played to, and it was too much, to be honest. 20 minutes in, I was thinking, this is the best moment of my life, but I want it to stop now. This is too much. Yeah. But the show Mitski did that night was one of the best things I've ever seen. It was really, really, really amazing. Yeah, lovely people as well, the whole band. It was fabulous.
Yeah, well, hats off to Mitski. Cowboy hats off, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, but just thinking about it again, so we'll get to the album in a moment, but just mentioned before, 11 years ago we first met, and it was Stephen Bass from Moshi Moshi sent me the link to the Vile Stuff video. Oh, yeah. And the rest is kind of history. But did you recognise with that particular tune and the fact that you did make a video for it, which must have been a little bit kind of out of the ordinary for you, did you realise that you'd not stumbled, but come across something that was just really, really remarkable?
No, I don't think you think of it like that. You just try your best every time, don't you? And then it's sort of, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I sort of started to twig on when people are still asking us to sing it now at gigs, and I don't want to disappoint people, but at the same time, I sung it for 5 years ago and nearly killed it. So, when I'm ready to pass on to the next world, I'll bring it out again, and as a sort of 80-year-old man, and then just sort of fade away on stage.
It'll be the "oh, go on then" moment. Did
talking about the new LP, and well done. It's another fantastic record. There are various themes running through it, but there's quite a lot of family, as we just heard in bulk, family settings and family and domestic scenes as well. And it's weird how this is part of your songwriting. It draws in the listener, draws into that domestic that setting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this domestic was the byword for the record quite early on. I knew I wanted it to be like a exploded version of a doll's house, something like that. That last song was almost like a big giant hand shining a torchlight around it. And, I was quite inspired by a bunch of Ozu films, things like Tokyo Story, the famous one, Late Spring, but also Good Morning and some others. And I started to think that the family was this really good metaphor to talk about some other things, like the cycles of unhealthy and healthy behaviours that we sort of get caught up in, and how on earth we break these kind of deeply rooted cycles. That's felt like, this is good. I can talk about some other things via this very domestic approach.
Also, I just wanted to mention about, and I'm sure this has been touched on before, the way that you write songs, and it's not a conventional approach, for example, to scanning lyrics, and that's part of the appeal. I mean, they do scan, but you do things with words that other songwriters say, no, there's no way I can fit in, and I don't want to put the muckers on you doing this, London School of Economics into that part of the song. But you do, I mean, that clearly comes naturally. That's a natural part of the way you write songs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like you sort of have. I get all of the melodies ready for the album first, and the guitar chords and the structures. Come to write the lyrics as one thing, but then you realise you don't have enough space in the lines for what you want to say. But it has, so you have to jam them into space where they're not really wanted.
But also you find space by doing things with the music as well. So there's enough sort of freedom that you allow yourself as a songwriter to do that. You're not constricted by the normal strong song structure. Would say, well, actually, no, we can't put that lyric in there because it doesn't fit into the way the rest of the song's written.
In a way, but yeah, I mean, it's like you sort of. Yeah, you got to be open to, well, the melody is like a plan, isn't it? But you have to be, like in life, you have to be open to the plan going awry. And it also has this nice effect of like making little variations in a melody that otherwise would be repetitious. So it's,
It works a treat, absolutely it does.
It really does. And of course, I mean, I've seen you working with various different guises of bands, and you're often working with Andrew Cheetham, who's on the record as well. And that's a partnership that works amazingly. But of course, if you're doing it like that, or with Andrew, without any extra members of the band, that freedom is granted to you because of the fact that you can stop and go wherever you like, can't you? Because you're in complete control of it.
Yeah, and he's got a big sort of grounding in improv and jazz. I mean, he loves a lot of the jazz drummers. Max Roach is one, and he's a fantastic player, Andrew. Actually, when we were making the album, it was really funny because he would do a nice fill. I go, oh no, don't do that. That's too good. And all the time I say, play softer. So by the end, he's playing these very basic beats, but it was technically really difficult because he's barely touching the skins. And
that's a complete anathema for a drummer.
Yeah,
I go back a long way, particularly with Paul Hanley. And I tell you, I mean, you mentioned lots of Deal or No Deal and Cash in the Attic. You mentioned lots of TV programmes. No flog, that's fine. But but he would be there, and Paul, he'd be watching The Sullivans when we were on an off day from the fall, and he'd just be watching it and be going... And you're like, that's a drummer for you. So for Andrew, just to be tickling these drums, it must have been hell, mate. What are you doing to him?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's good stuff. I wanted the album to sound like a newborn goat. And, sort of, when they emerge all sort of sticky and then they stagger around the barn and they get covered in bits of hay and stuff like that. This was the feeling that we were going for.
Are we on Country File now then? You're moving around the TV schedule as far as I can gather.
So with that in mind, where does the album's closer fit into the newborn goat? It's a beautiful closer more than real.
Thank you, yeah, that's a bit different, that one. So the whole album has this very limited palette. It's very restricted colour-wise. And I was thinking a little bit about this Tarkovsky film, Andrei Rublev, which is 3 hours of beautiful black and white photography and then a huge eruption of colour at the end when you see his paintings. And the effect it had on me when I watched that was quite powerful, and I thought, oh, maybe we could do our own sort of homespun version of that with some kind of knacky synths. And I was thinking as well about Neil Young's second song for the film Philadelphia, and it straddles this lovely line between completely cheesy and totally beautiful. So I wanted it to be like a release after this very tightly held album, a sort of emotional geyser, something like that.
Okay, well, I tell you, we've got your tour dates, which we'll go through after you've done the next two tunes, but Charlie Radke's been on from America, and he's wondering if there's any plans for you to go over there.
Well, I'd love to go again. Yeah, we've been working on it, but nothing quite in the pipeline yet.
Okay. All right, mate. So you've got two more tunes. The album is End of the Middle, and you've got two more tunes to do for us. What's the next one?
Next one's The Question, which was based, sort of partly inspired by a ghost story from my family. The names have been changed to protect the
ghosts.
To protect the ghosts. I might just need to check my tuning.
Do it. Yeah, absolutely. I can just mention you're playing this Friday at Rough Trade East in London on the 14th, then Saturday the 15th at Resident Music in Brighton, Monday 17th Rough Trade Bristol. There's more dates to come in April, which we'll fashion you with after these two numbers.
Great. And shout out to Sally at home. Love you.
Hello, Sally.
And shout out to Timothy, my taxi driver this evening.
Hey, Timothy.
Hello, Timothy.
Hello, mate.
And shout out to Daisy Pilkington, who's next door.
Hey, Daisy.
Hello, Daisy.
Studying music production in Manchester.
Fabulous.
And here is a song about a ghostly railway man.